Hey Broken Tee Society, I'm Jon Tattersall. I'm here at Full Swing's headquarters in Carlsbad, California. I'm a top 100 instructor, and I'm here to help you with your driver. We're going to talk about stats, how I look at stats, and why it's important for you to understand them, and hopefully how I can help you with them. Stats are incredibly important. How I use them, how I use them to help players drive the ball better. The thing I like about stats, it's proved that driving is really, really important. Things anecdotally we knew a long time ago. Now we actually have data to back it up, which I love, so that's fantastic. The other thing about stats is it shows me you could do a lot of things very well and get a bad result. We've hit a few shots here, one of the more intimidating tee shots on the PGA Tour. The 18th hole at TPC Sawgrass, you've got water left, you've got trees right. We know that water left is one additional shot, so we really want to make sure we take our pattern here. All these shots were hit with the same intent, and you can see a distribution there of those shots. Primarily, they're a push-draw kind of shot, so they're starting slightly right and either drawing a lot, or they're hooking a bit too much, or a bit of a push down the right. So right trees, not ideal, but you got a chance to make 4 from there. Water, no good. So rather than trying to stand on this tee and change your shot pattern, which is the wrong idea, it sounds cool to aim down the left and cut it back in the fairway, but if you're this player, if you're a drawer, that doesn't work. So now we want to aim our target slightly right of where we start normally. So the architect's job is to fool you. They're not on your side. They're to give you hazards to navigate. My job is to help you improve your score, obviously. So if we're on this tee, we're picking out a target, probably over one of these 2 tees or 3 tees out in front of us. Yes, if I hit that perfect, I could be in the right trees. But I can swing at that target much more confidently than trying to finagle something up the left side here. That doesn't work. It's not who I am. I need to be a push-draw player. That's my pattern. I need to apply that pattern to this shot. It's wonderful if you have access to a simulator like this. It's phenomenal. The players can then stand there and hit shot after shot after shot, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And they know their dispersion is about this. For tour level players, we're looking at about 60-yard wide grid at 290. Okay, so 60 yards is not down the middle every time. When you're watching a golf telecast, you're generally watching the best players play their best. So you've seen the players at the end of the tournament who weeded out the guys who are not quite as good that week. But that's our aiming pattern at tour level. So imagine, where is your pattern? You need to figure out where your pattern is. If you have access to this, phenomenal. Get on there. What I tell people to do is try and hit 10 shots exactly the same. No difference in intent. Don't react to your last shot. Hit the same shot over and over and over, and then we can figure out what your pattern is. If you're not fortunate enough to have this set up or don't have access to it, find a similar scenario on the range. I've got a couple of alignment rods down here. So if I was on the range, I'd stand back here, I'd look down the range, and I'd try in my head to simulate what we have here. And I would kind of have a left piece to my aiming pattern. And I would imagine, okay, if I go left of that point, whether it be a tree in the background or a bunker, whatever it might be, that is no good. So now I have to shift that pattern to the right. And again, have something here on the ground so you're lining up consistently well each time. The intent has to be the same each time. Too often, you hit a shot where you draw it, and now you're trying to change something. When we get into looking at how precise you need to be with impact with the driver, trying to change it is just a fool's errand. So don't try and change it. Same swing over and over and over. If you can walk out on the range and see where your golf balls are, awesome, or at least figure out what that width is that you're aiming in, and then aim appropriately. My job is to make you the casino, not the gambler. And if you're trying to take it up the left side and cut it, when you're a draw pattern player, you're now the gambler. And they have big casinos, and gamblers are the broke. So let's be the big casino. One of the cool things I know with the Broken Tee Society is you get to play so many great golf courses around the country, and fortunately, but unfortunately, it's probably the first time and possibly the only time you play this course. And you may have a caddy with you who's been there a lot, and you ask them on the tee, what's the line on this hole? The caddy generally will give you the perfect line. Okay, that's their job. They're not going to give you the dispersion. So if you can practice in a way where it's, if you want to get better, your ego's going to get hurt, basically. So get in a situation where you can figure out your dispersion. It's painful to know how far you hit it. It's never as far as we want. But now you can actually truly apply your numbers to that situation. So if the caddy gives me a perfect line, which would just be kind of over the red stakes, over the right side of the water here, then that is the perfect line, but it might not be the perfect line for you. So you have to factor in, okay, I don't hit it 290, and I have a dispersion that probably, say I hit it 250, my dispersion could still be 60 yards. So now I have to figure out, okay, at 250, where do I need to aim, and where's my dispersion? So I need to aim at least 30 yards right of the water, at least. And if I'm nervous or the wind's off the right, I need to add to that, not take away from that. It's not the time on a hole like this to try and hit your career drive. The other thing is when you're playing these courses for the first time, the more shots you hit well during the round, the more confident you become. And now you're really feeling the swing going a little bit. If you try and get aggressive on this type of shot to begin with, you're spiraling the wrong way at the beginning of the round. So get some very doable shots under your belt, if you will, to begin with. Get the swing going, get feeling a bit more comfortable. As the round progresses, if you're doing okay, yeah, be a little more aggressive with your aim, but start really conservatively, understand your pattern, and take your ego out of it, and put in the data from what you know, and apply as well as you can to the golf course. It'll make it a lot more fun, and you'll beat your buddies.